Now, if we talk about the calcium, as we are discussing that the calcium is very important. This calcium is responsible for the triggering of this chief cell to produce a parathyroid hormone, and this calcium has to maintain at the normal levels. Either it is increased or it is decreased. Okay. So then if we talk about the calcium, this calcium, it is usually present in two forms. Number one is plasma protein bound form. Number one is a plasma protein bound form, and number two is the ultrafiltrable. This plasma protein bound, it is always present, it is in this calcium is always bound with the plasma protein, okay, and in ultrafiltrable it is usually present in two forms. Number one is it is usually present in the form of complex, that is the calcium anions complex, and these anions, these are usually either sulfate or phosphates. And the last one, which is the second form of in ultrafiltrable calcium, that is the ionized form. So now remember what I have told you, that as we are discussing about the calcium, the maintenance of calcium levels in the blood, and the responsible gland is the parathyroid gland. Okay, so this calcium, you must know about this calcium. This calcium, it is usually present in two forms, either in the plasma protein bound form or in the ultrafiltrable form. Okay, in plasma protein bound, it is always bound with the plasma protein, and in case of ultrafiltrable form, it is usually exists in two forms. Number one is the calcium anion complexes, and number two the ionized form. Now, which one is important to us? This one or this one or this one? The important for us is this one, ionized form. So we can say that this ionized form is the active form of calcium. This is what? The active form of calcium. Okay, and these forms, their levels either decreased or are elevated, it will not affect the body. Okay, so that's why the most important for us to maintain is the ionized form, which is the active form. Now, this plasma protein bound form, it is usually 41%, and this calcium anion forms, it is usually the 9%, and this ionized form, it is usually 50%. So it means in our body we have to maintain this 50% of the calcium. Okay, and obviously we talk about the total calcium levels. If we talk about the total calcium levels, it should be usually 10 milligram per deciliter or 2.5 millimole per liter. Okay, so both are the same. Okay, either you can write it in this form or you can write it in this form. Okay, if we talk about the total calcium level, in the blood, that should be 10 milligram per deciliter or 2.5 millimole per liter. Okay, and our body, what the body has to do is to maintain this 50% or the active form or the ionized form of this calcium. So whenever I'm going to discuss about the calcium, it means I am discussing about the ionized form, not the other forms.